A month before our wedding, my fiancé cheated on me with his sister. He's young, forgive him, said my mother-in-law. I didn't say anything. I walked away and just stopped financing him, and then a week later my phone exploded. I was on top of the world. Everything in my life was falling into place just as I had always dreamed. I had a great career, financial stability, and most importantly, Leo, the man I thought was my soulmate. Leo and I had been together for 4 years and we were getting married in a month. He was everything I had ever wanted in a partner, charming, gentle, and endlessly supportive. Every time I doubted myself, he assured me that I was his one and only, the love of his life. I believed him. When I returned home that day, I was practically flying. I had just booked our honeymoon, an extravagant 2-week trip to the Maldives. I spared no expense because I wanted our first trip together to be unforgettable. Leo always said that he had never traveled much and that one of his biggest dreams was to see the world. I wanted to give him that dream. I parked the car and hurried inside to surprise him with the news. The house was unusually quiet, except for a strange, muffled sound coming from our bedroom. At first I thought he had left the TV on, but the closer I got, the clearer the sound became. I froze. The sounds were not coming from the television. My stomach tightened as I pushed open the bedroom door. When I saw what was happening, my whole world collapsed in an instant. There, tangled in the sheets of our bed, was my fiancé Leo. And with him was my younger sister Monica. I stood in the doorway, unable to comprehend what I was seeing. It didn't make any sense. My brain refused to believe it. It couldn't be real. But it was real. And in that moment, something inside me was irrevocably broken. I can't remember how long I stood there. Seconds? Minutes? Time seemed to drag on endlessly as I stared at her. Monica was the first to notice me. She was panting, clutching the sheets, her face pale. Leo, on the other hand, didn't even have the decency to look embarrassed. He just stared at me, his expression unreadable, as if he had been caught doing something as innocent as forgetting to take out the trash. I wanted to scream, throw something, demand an explanation, but no words came out. My throat felt tight and my heart was pounding so hard that I thought I was going to faint. Monica opened her mouth to say something, but I turned and left before she could. I didn't want to hear any of the excuses she had prepared. There was no explanation that could make it okay. I got in the car and just drove away. My hands were shaking, my thoughts were not forming in my head. I don't even remember making a conscious decision to go there, but before I knew it, I was knocking on Leo's mother's door. She opened the door with a warm smile that immediately faded when she saw my face. I must have looked terrible, my eyes were red and my breathing was labored. I told her everything. Every disgusting detail of what I had just seen. I expected her to be horrified, to be as angry as I was, to at least pretend to be on my side. Instead, she let out a long sigh and shook her head. Eva, he's young. He made a mistake. You can't throw everything away because of that. I looked at her and could not believe my eyes. She went on, saying that Monica must have seduced him, that I should understand how men are, that these things happen in relationships, that I should forgive him. I almost laughed. Forgive him? I didn't say another word. I just left. I got in my car and drove home and packed my things. I didn't cry. I didn't scream. I just felt numb. I canceled Leo's card that night. And a week later, my phone was ringing off the hook with calls and messages. I disappeared for a week. I left town without telling anyone where I was going. No explanations, no dramatic goodbyes, just silence. The first thing I did was cancel Leo's card. We had a joint account, but I financed almost everything. Rent, bills, even the car payment. He always told me he was working on getting his finances in order. I believed him. It turned out he was using my money to support his real relationship with my own sister. I sold the house. It was in my name, so I had every right to do so. It wasn't just about getting rid of the house. I wanted to erase any part of him from my life. By the time Leo realized what was happening, the papers were signed and the new owners were moving in. That's when the phone calls started. At first I ignored them. But then my phone exploded with messages. Calls from Leo, from Monica, even from his mother. Leo, Eva, please just talk to me. Monica, I didn't want to hurt you. Please call me. His mother, you're being immature. That's not how marriage works. Marriage? Was she serious? Then Leo's messages got desperate. Leo, where are you? I have nothing right now. I don't even have a place to stay. I didn't answer. I didn't owe him anything. But just when I thought it was over, something unexpected happened. A friend sent me a screenshot from a social networking site. It was a photo of Leo, with Monica. And the caption? "Sometimes love is not planned. It just happens." I felt a cold wave of disbelief wash over me. They didn't even hide it. And then, as if that wasn't enough, I got another message. This time from a number I didn't recognize. "You should have just kept quiet. Now you will regret it." I stared at the message, my heart pounding. The number was unfamiliar, no name. At first I thought it was supposed to be Leo. Maybe Monica. But something about the wording was different. More threatening. I wasn't scared, I was just angry. After everything they had done, they had the nerve to threaten me? I didn't reply. Instead, I took a screenshot and saved the number. Then I turned off my phone. I left town for a reason to disappear, to cut ties, to start over. But now it seemed they would not let me. A few days later, I received another message from a friend. Leo had officially moved back in with his mother. He had no job, no money, no place of his own. Meanwhile, Monica was walking around like she had won some kind of prize. I should have been happy, but something was wrong. One day late at night, I woke up to the sound of my cell phone vibrating. I had stupidly forgotten to put it on silent. Another message. "You think it's over? Just wait." This time I felt something different. Not just anger, calmness. I got up, checked the locks on the door, and looked outside. There was nothing. Just darkness and silence. But I couldn't shake the feeling that someone was watching me. I told myself that it was just paranoia. That the messages were just desperate attempts to scare me into coming back. But deep down I knew that something was wrong. I went to the police the next morning. I showed them the message and explained the situation. They didn't take it seriously. No direct threats, no evidence of danger, just "be careful" and "block the number." I did just that. But the messages kept coming. From different numbers. "You took everything from him. Now it's your turn. You can't run away forever." Then the call started. I never answered, but I listened to an answering machine. It was just breathing. Slow, heavy breathing. I moved to a hotel that night. I didn't feel safe in the apartment I was renting. Then I noticed something. Every time I left the hotel, I felt like someone was close. Not so close as to be obvious, but close enough to make my skin crawl. At first I brushed it off. But then I began to see him. The man. Always at a distance. Outside the coffee shop I used to go to. Across the street when I walked back to the hotel. He never approached me. He just stared. I tried to get a better look at him, but every time I turned around he disappeared into the crowd. I told myself he was a coincidence. A random stranger. But after everything that had happened, I didn't want to take any chances. That night I got another message. "You look good in blue." I froze. I was wearing blue. Someone was watching me. Right now. My hands grew cold as I stared at the note. I scanned the hotel lobby, my heart pounding. Who was looking at me? I forced myself to stay calm. I went to the front desk and asked if they had any security footage from the last few days. They said yes, but I needed a police warrant to access it. Police. I see. They were unhelpful before, but now? Someone was following me. It wasn't just paranoia anymore. I left the hotel and went to the police station. I showed them the new messages and explained that I had seen someone following me. They took me more seriously this time. They asked if I knew who might be behind it. I didn't hesitate. Leo. Or maybe Monica. Or his mother. Or someone they sent. They agreed to look into it, but I could tell they were in no hurry. To them it was just another case of harassment. Nothing urgent. But to me it was real. Too real. That night I took a different route back to the hotel. I changed my clothes, put on a hat, tried to blend in. I was testing a theory. And I was right. As I turned the corner I saw him again. The same man. Dark jacket, baseball cap pulled low, keeping his distance but always close. This time I didn't turn away. I turned to him. He noticed. He hesitated for a second, then turned and walked away, disappearing into the night. I wanted to follow him. To demand answers. But my instincts told me not to. Instead I did something else. I took out my phone, snapped a picture of his retreating figure and sent it to the police. And then for the first time I answered an unknown number. Who are you? The answer came almost immediately. You already know. I stared at the message, my pulse pounding in my ears. You already know. Whoever it was playing games. But I wasn't afraid anymore. I sent another message. If you have something to say, say it. No reply. I did not sleep that night. Every sound made me jump. Every shadow outside the window seemed to be his. The man who was following me. The man I still didn't recognize. In the morning I received an email from the police. They had checked the photo I had sent them. It was Nathan Pierce. I didn't recognize the name until I saw the details. Leo's best friend. I hadn't thought about Nathan in years. He and Leo had been close when we first started dating, but then he moved out of state and Leo barely mentioned him after that. So why was he here? I went straight to the police station. When I got there they told me that they had found Nathan. They picked him up early in the morning near my hotel. And when did they go through his phone? They found every message he sent me. But that wasn't the worst part. He confessed. Leo sent him. Leo hired Nathan to scare me. To stalk me. To make me paranoid enough to run back or at least break down enough so he could control me again. He was angry that I made him homeless. He was angry that I cut him off from his money. And he wanted revenge. Nathan claimed that he never meant to hurt me, he just wanted to have some fun. But I didn't believe him. The way he stalked me, followed me, sent me threats. He was out of his mind. The police arrested Nathan for stalking and harassment. They also took Leo in for questioning. It turned out that he didn't have the money to hire a lawyer. And Monica? As soon as she found out what he had done, she left him. She didn't want to be with a guy who was obsessed with his ex. I should have been relieved. I should have been happy. But all I felt was that it was over. It's over with Leo. I was done with Monica. The whole nightmare was over. I packed my things, changed my number and moved to another city. This time for good. And Leo? The last I heard, he was still living with his mother. Alone. Penniless. And no excuses. It wasn't the revenge I had planned. But it was the justice he deserved.